Hi everyone, it's Ludo, and welcome to RenovHome. Today I'm taking you on a trip to a distant corner of Lozère. Well, distant is relative. They're simply the neighbors of my own region. To tell the truth, while browsing Le Bon Coin one day, I came across an ad offering free stone blocks. Jackpot. I like a good challenge. And there we go, it's loaded. I put it at the front of the trailer to balance the weight, close the tailgate, and head back home feeling pretty satisfied. But no. That was a joke. ChatGPT told me that to recover from my fall and my sore ribs, I should ease back into physical activity. So that's exactly what I'm doing. It's practically doctor's orders. For those wondering what I'm talking about, I invite you to check out episode 22 of this second series. Alright, let's start by pulling out a small ramp to make life a little easier. You can see over there that I had set up an engine hoist just in case. In the end, I didn't need it because I didn't have much room to maneuver the trailer close to the blocks. A rolling stone gathers no moss, but it gets into the trailer much more easily. That's my new Chinese proverb. Let's talk a little about these stones. It's granite. It's probably very similar to the granite that was used to build the house, especially for the cornerstones, some of the lintels, and the door surrounds. It's local stone, what we sometimes call country granite. It doesn't come from a specific quarry or a dedicated construction stone deposit. These are blocks that time, frost, and erosion gradually brought closer to the surface in cultivated fields. For generations, farmers removed them from their fields so they could work the land. These stones often ended up piled along field boundaries or were reused to build walls, buildings, and roads. I like the idea of giving them a new life here. These stones come from the same area as the house, and there's a good chance they originated from the very same bedrock. That's all well and good, but they don't roll by themselves. In fact, I'm knocking off the protrusions that slow them down. You can see the difference, right? I almost have to stop them from rolling away on their own. When a block doesn't seem usable as it is because of its shape, and because it's a little too heavy as well, we're going to make it multiply. There's a trick behind this little magic act, and I'd like to thank a friend who kindly lent me a brand new cordless rotary hammer for this adventure. Very handy when my own machine needs to be plugged into the mains. Using a carbide drill bit, I drill a series of 14mm holes along the fracture line I want to create. A small set of stone-splitting wedges. This is what they look like. 2 half-round shims and a central wedge, held together by an O-ring so they stay assembled before being inserted into the drilled holes. I'll put a link in the list of tools and supplies that I find on Amazon and recommend. As a reminder, it's an affiliate link that doesn't cost you anything extra, and for products like these, no brand has contacted me. These are simply my own purchases. Alright, let's move on to another area of the property. There's a bit more walking involved, and sometimes I find myself wondering, what on earth am I doing here? Life can be strange sometimes. Anyway. Sometimes I make mistakes with my drilling, so I bring out my hole-filling drill bit, quick and effective.
The wedges work a bit like splitting a log of firewood. It may sound surprising when we're dealing with rocks that are literally hard as stone, which they are, but while granite can withstand enormous compressive forces, it's a different story when it comes to tension, and that's exactly where the wedges do their work. At this point, it's a bit like playing whack-a-mole, except you never lose. You can clearly see the crack beginning to form, almost as if the granite were taking a deep breath. And there we go. One stone becomes two. Isn't that magic?
Other times, I need to glue the blocks back together to make larger ones. That's where my stone gluing wedges come in. We'll see it more clearly later, but some granites are more uniform, finer grained, and easier to sell commercially. This one is more rustic, but that's exactly what interests me. It matches the stones of the house perfectly. The granite of the Margeride was formed around 300 million years ago from magma that cooled very slowly deep underground. That slow cooling process is what created the large crystals that are visible to the naked eye. It's hard to imagine, but these blocks formed several kilometers below the Earth's surface. It took hundreds of millions of years of erosion before they eventually appeared at the surface in the landscapes of the Margeride that we know today. And then there are moments when my ribs remind me they're still there. But if it hurts, it means it's healing, right? And there we go. The load is starting to look pretty good. It's time to pack up and head home. Well, maybe just one more piece for the road. Back at home, I've set up my stoneworking area directly on the trailer. I've gone through many different phases while working these blocks, and my approach has evolved all along the way. In fact, it's still evolving today. I'm learning as I go. I'm not a stonemason at all, and on top of that, I'm not even completely sure what final appearance I want to achieve. I don't mind seeing tool marks on the stone faces, just like on some of the original blocks of the house. So, in short, I'm simply doing the best I can with the few tools I have and my limited experience. As for the tools, carbide is king. Otherwise, just like the old stonemasons, I would need to constantly reforge and sharpen my tools because of the hardness of the mineral grains that make up this rock. And there we go. After a little rain shower, just enough to annoy me, it's time to head off to bed. It's been a good day. The next day, we're back at the newly created opening in the stone staircase. It's time to prepare the base that will receive the jamstones. I had mixed a fairly rich lime mortar that was intended to last throughout the staircase project. The schist stones themselves aren't particularly absorbent, but the old mortar in the wall probably would have benefited from a little moisture before laying the new stones. I had deliberately prepared a fairly fluid mortar to reduce the effects of rapid drying on dry substrates, but that was before I realized I didn't have the ideal tool for the job. Which makes this the perfect moment to introduce this tool, one that probably would have encouraged me to dampen my old mortar much more often. I'd like to thank Vever for their trust and for sending me this product. As you can see, it's a battery-powered backpack sprayer. It comes with 2 spray wands, a telescopic one and a plastic one for corrosive products. It has a 16-liter capacity, and all that's left to do is assemble everything. The seals are already installed. Several nozzles are included, either brass or plastic depending on the product being used. There's also a priming pump, which I've never actually needed to use, along with a complete set of spare seals. All that's left is to install the shoulder straps and it's ready to go. I fit a triple brass nozzle to get a wide and powerful mist spray. It features an on-off switch as well as a control dial that allows you to adjust the pump power. The battery is easily accessible and replaceable if needed one day, while charging is done through the connector using the supplied power adapter, which indicates the charging status. Finally, there's a 3 LED battery indicator. A yellow light means the battery is low. Yellow and green together mean the battery is fully charged. And if all 3 LEDs light up at the same time, you'll probably need to check the manual or contact Vevor support because the sprayer has detected a fault. To avoid spoiling the next stages of the project too quickly, and since I didn't get approval from my site supervisor Pookie, I'm forced to blur the progress. That said, I can already tell you it's very effective. There's no pumping required, which means you get a constant spray pattern at all times, and the adjustable power setting is very useful for controlling the amount of water being applied. Let's do a quick outdoor test around my grapevines using plain water. As you can see, a single battery charge provides far more spraying time than you would normally need, which means you're very unlikely to run out of power at the worst possible moment. The telescopic wand allows you to direct the spray to one side without even twisting your wrist. And with the straight brass nozzle, I get a mist that reaches nearly 6 meters horizontally. That makes it useful for treating a roof, cleaning solar panels, or simply spraying at a distance in comfort and safety. You'll find an affiliate link in the description and in the pinned comment if you'd like to take a look. Now, it's time to get back to the construction site in its completely dry state because, yes, I didn't own this sprayer at that time. There's no doubt it will join me on many future masonry projects. The ease of use compared to my old manual backpack sprayer, which constantly had problems with its pumping lever, means I'm much more likely to actually use it. Back to my stone shaping project, and since I'm not completely crazy, I still bring out the angle grinder to help shape the blocks. Then I follow up with a flat chisel to knock off the larger grains. It's not perfect yet, but even after the stones are installed, can always come back later and refine them. On this close-up, you can clearly see the granite crystals, and not just any granite, local country granite. The grains are large, irregular, and far from uniform. Personally, I think it looks great, although it's probably not as pleasant to work as a perfectly homogeneous stone. For those who know what I'm talking about, and ignoring the color for a moment, I can't help but think it looks like a slice of cayette. It's especially striking in black and white. So tell me, could granite actually be a type of charcuterie? While I'm shaping these stones, I'd like to invite anyone who hasn't already done so to subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and maybe drop a comment below. At least if you enjoy the effort that goes into these projects. It may not seem like much, but it really helps my small channel gain visibility and encourages me to keep sharing these adventures with you. This block needs a small adjustment to get it properly plumbed. I fill the gaps with smaller stones and do my best to blend the new stones into the existing wall. I'll come back later and make some nice joints here as well. Now that I've raised this side, I can build the final step of the staircase that leads to the room above. And here's the current progress of the opening, with a few challenges and some new skills that I'm still trying to get the hang of, with more or less success. My methods will improve over time, and I can tell you one thing, by the time this house is finished, I'll be an expert. Although, between you and me, that's probably not happening anytime soon. Anyway, I wish you all a great weekend, stay safe, and I'll see you very soon on RenovHome for the next stage of the project. This was Ludo.